Welcome to What Are You Sporting About podcast, a podcast about business, employment, sports, and entertainment to help educate, support, and guide you to your next level. Here's your host, attorney Sivonnia DeBarros.
All right. What's up, everybody? I am streaming in multiple places. I'm also on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Shout out to all of you out there today, starting off your week very, very strong. And I'm glad that you guys are joining me today for a powerful conversation on mindset, but in a different way. So typically people are talking to you or want to talk to you about your mindset as you flow through your personal life. But what about your mindset as you flow through your business? And look, y'all talk to me today. All right? Because we're going to tackle something extremely important. So this is your first time seeing me, hearing from me, watching me. I am Sivonnia DeBarros, also known as the protector of athletes, but I'm also the principal and founding attorney of S.L. DeBarros Law Firm, where I represent multi-6, 7, and 8-figure business clients, inclusive of athletes. And my job is to help my clients to increase their revenue by protecting their intellectual property assets. That's their business, their name, their brand, but we also protect their money. And we also implement strategies that could take us into court, state, and federal litigation to further protect those interests. So, hey, if you have a business issue, contract issue, NIL issue, trademark issue, I'm your girl. Holla at me, Sivonnia DeBarros, protector of athletes. But you also may be wondering, what makes me an expert in this place or in this field? Who have I served? What have I done? Listen, y'all, I've been practicing now. The end of October will be 10 years exactly. And I'm super excited. So shout out to me for my pre-lawyer anniversary of 10 years, which is huge. But in that time, not only have I created a company that has been successful and generates multi-six figures, but I've also had the ability and still serve high-ranking entrepreneurs and have had the ability to represent so many athletes in different professional sports. But also that experience has allowed me to be featured in places like the news, CBS, ABC, WGN9, have been featured in documentaries and the like. Podcasts galore. So the work is out there. If you guys don't know a lot about me, definitely do your due diligence, research me, pull up my name. You're going to see all the things that I've done. But also what makes me a competitor in this market is my girth, my passion for why I do what I do. Right. So many people see something and they're like, oh, I just want to do it because it looks cool. I want to do it because everybody else is doing it. That's not me at all. I don't do stuff because everybody else is doing it. I do it because I have a passion and I have a heart for the thing that I want to do. Right. And law is the foundation for all of that. Law is the way that I protect people. It is my superpower. It's something that I've wanted to do since I was 4. I spoke that at 4, y'all, the tender age of 4. And so even into the place where I've evolved now in my business, as an attorney, as someone who supports athletes and entrepreneurs, the law is the bedrock for me to help my clients and those who might become my clients to recognize how they can protect the assets that they have created, but also recognizing the assets that they have in store that they've ignored or just haven't been taught how to recognize those. So today, we're going to tackle contract mindset. What is your contract mindset? And so many of us have it, right? It's either a bad mindset or maybe it's somewhat good. So typically when I talk about mindset in the sports atmosphere, I always talk about it from, having the traditional fixed mindset of the growth mindset traits. And so I want to break that down for you really, really quick before we dive deep into having a contract mindset, because it ties right into it. And I'm going to say this really quick too. If you guys are watching on any platform, whether that's Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram, go ahead and shoot me a shout out. Let me know who you are, where you're listening from. And if you would like to do a little bit more, let me know what type of business you have. Let me know what type of business you have. But also on top of that, are you an athlete looking to level up in your contract deals, or are you serving athletes in some respect? Okay, in some regard. So go ahead, talk to your girl. Let me know who you are. And if you're watching through LinkedIn or Facebook, I'm not going to know who y'all are unless you make yourself known. So definitely drop me a message in the comments of whatever streaming platform you're watching this from, so that we can have a really engaging time together this morning. All right, so back to the mindset baseline or the foundation of it. Typically, people operate from one of two types of mindsets. That's either a fixed mindset or a growth mindset. And fixed people typically look for validation. They are not going to go outside of the general, well-known ideals of what they feel like they should already know, right? They feel like, okay, I've done this thing, I've acquired this particular skill, that should be enough. And instead of me trying to learn anything new, then I just want people to validate me. That, that comes in the form of having to go and get all these certifications, or looking for people to constantly clap you up, rah rah rah, because you want to feel important, but you don't want to take the extra step to make sure that you are doing what you say you want to do the right way. Well, growth mindset people are totally different. They don't care how many obstacles come in their way. What they will do is make sure that they find the information, they find the people to learn what needs to be done so they can be successful at doing a particular thing. All right. So it's about finding solutions to the problems that they are encountering. Those are growth mindset people. So how does that show up? How does that show up in NIL deals or athlete brand deals? And I want to say this really quickly for you guys. When I say NIL deal, that's a brand deal, period. Your NIL is your intellectual property rights. So many people misunderstand this concept and they believe, well, if I have a NIL deal, well, then that means I have someone who is going to give me a contract specifically for my NIL. They talk about it as one inclusive thing when NIL could be multiple assets, multiple pieces to the puzzle, to the pot, right? NIL is your intellectual property rights. It is your intellectual property rights. And to understand exactly what your NIL is, that means that you also need to put yourself in a growth mindset so that you can learn what are the things or the activities or the assets that I already have that are part or stemming from my particular name, image, or likeness. All right. And what does that look like inside of a contract? And that's why we need to understand, what is our mindset? What am I willing to do? What am I not willing to do? Because if you're not willing to do something, if you're not willing to take the extra step to learn what needs to be learned, to understand how to position and how to leverage and how to negotiate certain standpoints around your name, image, and likeness, your IP, then you are operating from a fixed mindset. And when you operate from that fixed mindset, that puts you in danger. It puts you in danger. I have spoken extensively about Gervin Dexter's contract issue with BLA. All right. And it is a sad, sad thing to see a young athlete suffering at this point of a bad deal. But I'm wondering, did the bad deal happen because there was a wrong contract mindset involved in this situation, right? There was a wrong contract mindset involved in this situation. So before I dive deeper, I definitely want to invite you guys, make sure that you come to the NIL contract breakdown. We're going to launch a 5-part series. We're releasing it October 13th at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can go to bit.ly/NIL breakdown. That's bit.ly/NIL breakdown. And make sure that NIL breakdown is in all caps. All right. So definitely join me there, because we're going to take these 5 parts. And listen, if you don't know anything about me, I'm a beast with contracts. I'm a beast with litigation. there's no probably about it. I'm the person you want to learn this stuff from. All right. So make sure that you come and join me so that you can get the secret sauce. You can see and hear, and also implement some of the same strategies that I implement for my clients who are generating upwards of multi-million dollars. All right. So it pains me when I see young athletes, entrepreneurs engaging in contracts from the wrong mindset. And here's what the wrong mindset will do. Point one, it can cost you millions. So if we look back at Gervin Dexter's issue, he was paid over what? I'm gonna round it up. Let's just say $450,000. I think the contract was around $436,000 with another $5,000 to be provided to a charity of his choice. And this contract that he signed promised to pay 15% of his pre-tax NFL earnings over 25 years. And when I did the math, the payout to the opposing party would generate over $1 million to this opposing party, right? Just based on the one contract of the 4 years, the first 4 years of Mr. Dexter. What a hell of a come up. What a hell of a come up, right? So what exactly is your contract mindset? Because the wrong mindset will cost you $1 million. So now if this individual has the opportunity to sign more contract deals with the NFL or whatever sport this particular person could be in, right? Now, how many millions would that subject you to that you have to pay out to an opposing party, which have basically said, I'm going to recoup all of my costs that I've paid you, plus I keep the benefit of the things that you've done inside the contract, and I get the opportunity to generate multi seven figures, multi millions on top of what I've already gotten from you. So the wrong mindset can cost you millions. All right, you might be the person to say, well, I don't have $1 million brand. I haven't generated $1 million yet. Well, that's the wrong mindset. The biggest thing, all right, sometimes the biggest thing is recognizing the value that you have, even if the money has not followed it yet. Just because you have not earned $1 million does not mean that your brand is not $1 million brand. It does not mean that you won't have the opportunity to yield $1 million, if not millions of dollars. It does not mean that if you had the right collaboration, that brand would not generate millions of dollars. So sometimes what individuals will do when they have this wrong contract mindset is they foreclose themselves from being able to engage in other opportunities that have the potential to yield that brand upwards of multi-millions of dollars. Because guess what? They have shorted themselves inside of the deal that they've signed because they didn't understand or recognize the value of the brand that they had, right? They didn't recognize what the long-term possibilities could have been because they were too short-sighted in thinking, well, this is what I want right now, right? Or this is the money that I need right now. Having the wrong mindset can ruin your immediate future, but it can also ruin the future that you envision for yourself. All right. In addition, having the wrong contract mindset can jeopardize your remaining assets. What does that look like? What does that look like? Jeopardizing your remaining assets. If you have not done the work to understand what are all of the pieces of my name, image, and likeness, how can I leverage those individual assets? And if I have agreed to sell off these things, that can now be derivatives, different works or variations of your name, image, and likeness, where the other party now has the opportunity to create more assets from that baseline name, image, and likeness, your baseline NIL assets, it could foreclose you from being able to create other things around that NIL, those NIL assets. And if you're sued, which is another issue stemming from the wrong mindset, if you're sued, the things that you've created could become or could be considered the property of the party that you sold it to. This is serious stuff, y'all. This is serious stuff. All right. Are you willing to go inside of deals because it looks good, it's shiny, it seems to be a lot of money? Let me keep it real with you. $400,000 ain't a lot of money. All right. $1 million is not a lot of money. You've probably, even if you have not accumulated $1 million yourself, you've probably have spent at least $1 million within the last 2 years or 3 years. It's not a lot of money. All right. You've had millions of dollars to flow through your fingers. You have not learned yet how to hold on to it. It doesn't mean that you can't. It doesn't mean that you won't have the opportunity to accumulate and build $1 million within 1 year. But if you're putting yourself in this position because you lack the proper mindset around your deals, you will for sure endanger remaining assets that could be created from your name, image, and likeness. You will endanger multi-million-dollar opportunities that could come from collaborations. But guess what could also end up happening? Here's another point. This could lead you to court battles that could have a price tag of no less than $350,000. What does that mean? That could also mean it's a price tag of $1 million. So the same time that you're fighting a court battle that's going to yield 7 figures, what if you just took the time? What if you had taken the time, right? Hired somebody to support you, come to, NIL breakdown series like that, listen to episodes like this, webinars, pop-up lives, to get you in the right mindset, in the right frame, so that you can reposition yourself to say, okay, here's a few ways that I think I need to think about this and attack this issue from this angle. Here is something that doesn't sit right with me. I need to take this to a licensed counsel, right? Sometimes having the right mindset will also put you in a driver's seat where even if you had not known that you needed to go to an attorney yet, maybe you want to approach people who possibly have done a deal with the same or similar opposing party. So you could ask them, hey, how did you feel about this deal? Like, what was the outcome of what happened inside of your deal? What are some things that you didn't like? How's the party's conduct after the contract has been signed? Right? So you can start trying to figure out, is this somebody or a company? Is this a company or someone that I want to engage with on a long term? Do I really want to put my time, my energy, and my money into this? Because also outside of the money, you want to look at, is this the proper alignment with who you are, what your brand is, and where you want to take it? Okay? And my last point for you guys is having the wrong contract mindset could manifest itself into mental health issues. It can manifest itself into mental health issues, but it could also manifest itself into physiological issues. The stress that you have, the sleepless nights that you have, not knowing whether it's going to cost you money, more money than what you've already have spent or invested inside of your brand. Not knowing what the outcome is going to be, right? We have to do business differently. And if there are young athletes, when I say young, I'm talking about high school level, going into college, or even if you are a college athlete, you guys have to understand that you're worth so much more. You're worth so much more. I'm going to say that again. You're worth so much more. And it would be a shame if you settled because it looked good at the time, which could cost you millions of dollars. You have an idea of where you want your future to go. So why are you abandoning it right at the time that someone offers you something that looks like it's substantial? Because in the long run, it's not. In the long run, it's not. On Instagram, I have Chris was here. I have Shimona. Shimona says, I have a child that's a Division I athlete, and I'm very interested about NIL and how to help my child to navigate it. Absolutely. Coming to things like this, make sure that you join or RSVP for the 5-part series NIL breakdown. Part 1, we're going to dive more into that mindset piece and how to utilize it around the negotiation aspect. But also, we're going to tackle issues around long-term consequences and what unequal obligations look like. It's huge. Sometimes we think that when we engage in a contract, we agreed we're going to do this company looks so huge. So to us, it seems like it's only fair that we do this amount of work or we provide this amount of things because this company is so large. This can get me off on the right footing. But guess what? It could create an unequal obligation, which technically is unfair or could be considered unconscionable, right? And so if you guys come to the NIL breakdown, man, I'm going to uncover so much stuff, and we're going to use Gervin Dexter's contract as a backdrop. All right, we're going to use Gervin Dexter's contract as a backdrop because I really want you to recognize where the pitfalls are. I want you to recognize where the pitfalls are. Now, this is not a replacement. This is not a replacement to say that you don't need an attorney. Okay, this is not a replacement to say that you don't need an attorney. You do need an attorney. I will always recommend that you have an attorney review your contract, and if you could, have an attorney negotiate the contract terms for you, right? But this is a good starting place for you to understand the pitfalls to NIL or brand deals. And I want you guys to come with a heart hungry to truly understand how this shows up and how this can show up for you or the athlete in your life, all right? Parents, you're going to be the first go-to for your student athlete. You're going to be the go-to for your student athlete. And when they don't know things, they're going to ask you. All right. It reminds me of when I was going into college. I was about to graduate from high school. And I'm like asking my mom, I don't know what major I should major in because I want to be an attorney. So my mom she's not an attorney. So some of the stuff was trial and error that she had to help me with, but I went to my mom, right? And if I didn't go to my mom, I went to my advisors or my counselors. So as parents, you are the first step to these kids, these young athletes. If you're the professional that is serving them, then they're going to ask you, hey, do you know an attorney that I can talk to because I need some advice on this contract? Maybe there is something inside of there where it just doesn't feel right for you, right? That in itself is a sign that you need more clarification. If it doesn't feel good, it doesn't feel right, even just utilizing your own common sense, and you read something, you like, yeah, this does not look right to me. I need to talk with someone. You want to make sure you arm yourself with the most information possible so that you can have a qualified conversation with the athlete or with the young entrepreneur so that they can understand, all right, here's what could be happening, but then be in the position to refer them to someone who is adequately qualified to support them in this matter. All right. So definitely, I invite you guys. Please join me. October 13th is the kickoff, the jump off date for part 1 of the NIL contract breakdown series. If you'd like to RSVP right now at bit.ly/NIL breakdown. That's bit.ly/NIL breakdown. Again, that's bit.ly/NIL breakdown. Make sure that NIL breakdown is in all caps. Guys, I love this stuff. I absolutely love this stuff. And I'm going to say this before I sign off. I don't do this just to do it. Contrary to other people in the industry and in the legal community, not all lawyers are created equal. Not all people who have popped up in the last year and a half saying, Oh, I want to be in NIL. Oh, I want to be in this space. Oh, I'm operating in this. They have no idea what they're doing. They have no idea what they're talking about. If you want real information from someone who is not just passionate, but does this sort of work on a daily basis, who have gone into state and federal court and argued these issues for their clients, who have regularly supported athletes and multi 6, 7, and 8-figure bit. 7 figures is $1 million or more. All right. 8 figures is $10 million or more. We ain't talking about little money over here. So if you really want to know the pitfalls and how to navigate through it, this is your opportunity. This is your opportunity, because after this 5-part series is complete, December 1st is our last session. And in December 1, we're going to be talking about certain defenses to bad contracts. All right. So if you want to learn more, you want to learn it from the right person, this is your opportunity. So I invite you again, come to bit.ly/NIL breakdown. So that would be NIL contract breakdown. You can go and register at bit.ly/NIL breakdown, bit.ly/NIL breakdown. Again, NIL breakdown has to be in all caps, guys. And until then, I will talk with you guys later. I hope that you have the proper mindset here. Make sure that you put yourself in the driver's seat with the growth mindset so you can get the information that is available to you. There's no reason why we have to continue putting ourselves in positions that are inferior, that will endanger not just our immediate future, but also our long-term future and the assets that we currently have. Sometimes we just don't even know we got it. All right. So I invite you, come to NIL contract breakdown series, get all of the tools, the information that you need so that you can be more powerful inside of your NIL and athlete deal making. All right. I'll talk with you guys later. Ciao.
What Are You Sporting About podcast. Make sure to visit our website, prosportlawyer.com, where you can subscribe to the show in iTunes, Stitcher, or whatever your favorite platform is, so you'll never miss a show. And while you're at it, if you found value in the show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes or iHeartRadio. Or if you'd simply tell a friend about the show, that would help us out too. If you like the show, you might want to check out our book, What Are You Sporting About? Attorney Sivonnia DeBarros is available for private consulting at sldebarros.com. And remember, we're here to educate, support, and guide you in your journey to success, because we're all sporting about something.